Good morning again. As we continue to read the Bible every day, we are now on day 179. At the moment, we're looking at Hebrew poetry in the Bible that's not in the book of Psalms, and today we're looking at the Song of Deborah and Barak, which you will find in the book of Judges, chapter 5, verses 1 to 13. Praise Yahweh. The Israelites were ready for battle. People were keen to volunteer. So listen to me, kings. Pay attention, rulers. I need to sing and make music to Yahweh, Israel's God. Yahweh, what a storm accompanied you when you left Mount Seir and came out of Edom. The earth quaked, rain fell from the sky and poured out of the clouds. The mountains were shaking because of the presence of Yahweh from Sinai, the presence of Yahweh, Israel's God. Back in the bad days of Shamgar, Anath's son, and of Jael, the trade routes had dried up, and no one used the highways. The cities of Israel stood abandoned until you came, Deborah. You came to Israel like a mother. War had started because Israel had chosen different gods. There were 40,000 men in Israel, but how many were armed? I'm singing in praise of those who did volunteer and their leaders. Thank God for them. So think about it, you that ride saddled on white donkeys. Think about it, you who have to go on foot. Listen. The noisy gatherings by the wells are spreading the news that Yahweh has triumphed. His people Israel are victorious. That's when Yahweh's people marched out of their cities. Lead on, Deborah, lead on. Lead on, sing together, lead on. March forward, Barak, Abinoam's son, with your prisoners. The faithful came out to their leaders then. Yahweh's people came to him, ready to fight. This was a famous victory for Israel during the period when the settlement of the Promised Land was still in dispute. Stories abound in the tradition from this Wild West period of history. It is of interest to us because of the leading role taken in it by women. The book of Judges is largely a male history, and this hardly surprises us. The judges and heroes whose names we know best are Gideon and Samson. But before them came this female judge, Deborah, a married woman whose judgment and wisdom people respected and sought out. She had sufficient respect in the community that she could command the presence of military leaders like Barak and advise them on military tactics against oppressive but well-armed local kings like Jabin, who had treated the local Israelites with cruelty and violence for 2 decades. It was now time to challenge Jabin, and Deborah agreed to accompany Army Commander Barak and his small volunteer force to ambush Sisera, Jabin's commander, his chariots and his troops in the mountains. In the rout, Sisera's troops were trapped and slaughtered, and Sisera himself escaped. Deborah had already told Barak that Sisera's fate was to be at the hands of a woman, and Sisera did indeed seek a hiding place in Heber's tent. He mistakenly thought Heber's family was friendly with his king, but Jael, Heber's wife, was on the side of Yahweh. She gave Sisera refuge and sustenance. And when he fell asleep, she drove a tent peg through his skull. Thus we have both a female judge and a female hero in an ancient saga. And our text in the book of Judges gives us 2 versions of the story. First, the text version in Judges chapter 4, and then this troubadour's song about it in Judges chapter 5. I've no reason to doubt this was based on something that really took place, and here I've only given you the beginning of the lyric. I'd love to give you its ending too, which I am sure was created in the mind of the poet. The last stanza brings us in imagination to Sisera's mother, waiting for him to come home victorious. It goes like this. Sisera's mother was watching from her window through the lattice. "I wonder what's taking him so long," she asked. Her advisers said this, which she kept repeating to herself. "They'll be dividing the spoils. A girl or two for each soldier, rich cloth for Sisera, fancy embroidery for the queen. Yahweh, we want to see all your enemies dead like that, and let your friends shine like a bright sunrise." So, tomorrow, we have a poem put into the mouth of Hannah, who longed to be a mother on hearing about God's favour towards her. And we look at how that same theme turns up again in the New Testament. I'll see you tomorrow.